This here is Ferg from the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast. And when I'm not playing my banjo in space, I like to listen to the SNES podcast with your hosts Greg and George. You sure do have a pretty mouth.
$200, a Super Nintendo setup costs twice as much as the old system. For the money, the company promises better pictures, sound, and adventure. Now you're playing with power, superpower. You're the king, I tell you! The king!
Only for Super NES. You're listening to the SNES Podcast with your hosts, Soulblazer and George.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Super NES Podcast, episode number 100, part 2. Yes,
Part 2!
Part 2.
Sorry.
We had so much fun the first time around.
How dare you?
We decided to do it
How
again.
dare you?
As you can probably tell, this is Greg, joined by my other regular co-host, George.
That's me.
And
How dare you?
And we have some special guest hosts with us today for round 2 of the special game draft to the like the 100th episode of the Super NES podcast. So, some fellow podcasters I really admire and like a lot, just like the first time around. So, I will introduce each of you in turn. When I do so, please go ahead and just say a little bit about who you are, what YouTube channels, podcasts, etc. That you do, and we'll go on from there. So, why don't we start off with Ferg?
Hi, I'm Ferg. I do the Atari 2600 podcast. Your Game by Game podcast, I think it's called, and please stand by.
He doesn't even know the
And
name
Atari
of his own
Visions.
podcast.
Yes.
We got to get a new episode out.
Yes.
Please
and
do.
you have, yep. And you do have a YouTube channel, just not that active.
Not that active.
Yes.
Stop guilt tripping me, Greg.
Sorry, didn't do it on purpose. Okay, Willie, you're up next.
Si habla español.
Oh no, we got the wrong guy on.
Press 2 for Willie.
Press 2 for Willie.
Well, yes, this is Willie. I'm here. I live in a cardboard box.
What podcast are you currently doing these days, Willie?
Mainly the Toy Tomb.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
Atari Visions.
Yes.
I guess as
Both
well.
excellent podcasts. Willie also does Willie also has an awesome YouTube channel, which is highly recommended.
ArcadeUSA, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
covers some great stuff on there. So.
If I'm Canadian, can I look at your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's blocked in Canada.
Yeah, I'm blocked a lot of places.
USA only.
That's story for another day. Kris, since you spoke up, why don't you go ahead next?
Hi, I'm Kris. I am a co-host of the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I host the Waveback Music podcast, which is a podcast where I nerd out about video game music because I'm a colossal nerd. I'm on the This Week's Episode podcast with my wife and my friend Evan. We talk about TV shows. I'm on this podcast right now, where I'm talking to you guys about Super Nintendo games.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Oh, that's really cool.
Look forward to it. And I'm editor-in-chief of Geekade.com. I also write the StoneAgeGamer.com official blog, and I sleep occasionally.
Oh, okay.
Only
That's
occasionally.
good. That's
Yes.
good.
It was Ferg who got me turned on to your podcast. About 2 years ago, though. So, awesome stuff you guys do over there.
Thank you very, very much. I enjoy every time you send audio submissions to Ferg's show.
I try every time.
Every week. Every other week.
Oh,
Right?
yeah,
Right?
little
Yes,
mini podcast by podcast.
Right.
Hey, I have cut down on the length, so.
Like I'm having deja vu. I could lick off his absinthe.
And last but definitely not least, Dan.
My name is Dan Ryan. I am the other co-host of the Stone Age Gamer podcast, right there on geekade.com with Kris. I am also the sometimes host of Backdrops and Body Slams, which is a wrestling podcast. The very, very infrequent host of the Bags and Boards podcast, which is about comic books. I mostly write, although I'm back in school again, so I haven't been doing that for the website very much either. I'm basically a slothful layabout that does one thing a week, but claims to do a bunch of other stuff.
How often do you sleep?
I don't.
Okay. All right.
I there's way too much to do. Like an hour or two a night, we're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Kris and Dan both have kids. They probably get like 2 hours of sleep at night.
Oh, jeez.
Kids in school and full-time job and trying to write about beer and kung fu and video games and wrestling and all that other stuff on, all that other stuff.
What happens if you accidentally write about wrestling, but it's supposed to be about beer, or you're writing about beer and it's supposed to be about kung fu? Like, what happens?
We put it up anyway because Kris is not Kris is not the most on-the-ball editor-in-chief. He's a lovely man. But,
Okay. Shots fired.
oh, it's an article. Put it up quick. Content.
Well, thank you guys very much for taking time out of your busy days to be here for us for round 2. We're definitely looking forward to doing this. Just as a quick reminder out there for listeners, this is a draft format where I've used random.org to randomly assign a name at each spot in the list. And we will go down that list in order, picking a game on the system that we personally like. It doesn't need to be a great game, just a game that we personally like and enjoy the system like quite a lot. And just talk real briefly as to why you enjoy it. George, do you think it's a good idea if we mention to the listeners real quick the summary of the games picked in round 1?
So we have Zelda 3, Link to the Past, Mario Paint, Umihara Kawase, Mario Picross, New Horizons, Final Fantasy IV, Super Mario All-Stars, UN Squadron, Super Metroid, Saturday Night Slam Masters, Harvest Moon, Earthbound, SimCity, RoboTrek, Paladin's Quest, Super Mario RPG, ActRaiser, Shadowrun, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, Shin Megami Tensei, not Shin Sausage, King
Is
Arthur's
that what
World,
that was?
The Lion King, Contra 3, and EVO.
Yeah, I was trying to type these down based upon like hearing Japanese words verbally, and I'm like, wow, how the heck do I spell this?
Yeah, somehow Shin Megami Tensei turned into Shin Sausage. I don't know.
It's like there isn't even an M in there.
Right.
So Ferg, I know that you're probably disappointed that Zelda 3 already got picked because I know how much you love that game.
Yes.
Kris, is there a game that you would have loved to have picked if it was still available?
I mean, there was a couple on here, but the one I'm most bummed about is UN Squadron, because I love taking any and all opportunities to talk about how amazing that game is.
George, right there with you, man.
I took that, so...
Yeah, George also loves that game, so he's right there with you.
Well, good pick, George. That game's a freaking masterpiece.
Thank you.
And it's going to be the subject of a future Waveback.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Looking forward to that, definitely. So Dan, how about you?
I'm really bummed that somebody took Saturday Night Slam Masters. I didn't think anybody else would pick some obscure wrestling title, but
it's really funny because they didn't like it because it was a wrestling game, but because it was a fighting game.
Yeah, it's like it's this
That makes
really
it
weird
that
mix.
just puts salt in the wound, huh?
It really does. It's so good too. It's so weird. I love it.
And Willie, how about you? Like anything on here that you probably would have picked?
SimCity.
Oh yeah, great game.
I would have picked SimCity. I spent many hours playing SimCity.
Yeah, great port.
Because I like to control my little minions.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I kicked off the first episode by
Wait. What about you and George?
We already talked about ours a little bit, I think, but we can say it
I haven't
again.
heard it yet.
Okay. Well,
It's news to us.
Yes.
okay. Well, I would take Final Fantasy IV because that game's still my favorite Final Fantasy game. Period.
Gotcha. George?
Probably Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it on my list, and I was like, I might pick this for the first episode. And then Nick was like, Shadowrun, and I was like, dang it!
Well, we kicked off the first round by having an impromptu trivia contest, contest of Super NES related. I believe I forgot to announce the prize in that one. The winner of that contest, Phil, got a $10 gift card like an eBay. So
nice.
I have another one here ready to give out to the winner of this one. This is the honor system. I'm going to trust you guys not to rush off online to look this up, but
damn it.
So taken from compiling several online sources for the
$60.
How do we answer this? How are we answering?
Simple. Like I'll go in order, and I'll let you guys have a pick, and whoever's closest to the correct number wins. And the number you're trying to guess is number of systems sold worldwide during the Super NES's lifetime. Please give it to me in terms of like a down to 10 digit. For example, like 19.1 million.
What is Albany, New York?
So Ferg, why don't you go first?
37 million.
Okay. Chris?
Is this like Price is Right? And if you go
nope.
over, so it's in both directions.
Yep.
Damn, I was gonna say $1.
Well, you would have been wrong anyway, because we're not counting in money.
Right.
47 million.
Oh.
Okay, Willie.
I'm looking it up. Just give me a second.
All right, Willie is disqualified.
I'm joking. Ferg said 37. Who said what?
Chris said 47.
Oh, I'll go with 30 million.
Okay. Dan?
51 million.
And George, there's no reason you can't have this too, so.
35 million.
The winner is Chris, 49.1 million.
Wow. Nice.
Oh, wow, okay.
According to some sources, it is the 6th most popular system sold worldwide, behind the 2600 NES, PS1,
Really?
PS2, and the Mega System because of its worldwide sales.
Wow.
Yeah, the PS2's up there. Yeah, I remember that.
Wait,
Alrighty.
what did Dan say?
I said
Dan's-
51.
Something wrong.
I think
Yes,
Dan's
it was
technically closer.
Something incorrect.
Oh yeah, you're right. 49.1.
Doesn't like Dan, that's the
He
problem.
does it.
Oh, wait, am I closer?
You're
Yeah, you are.
technically closer.
you
Yeah,
are.
You're
By
like
41 million.
I apologize profusely.
Trying to
Dan's
hose you,
the winner.
Dan.
Yeah, I know. I see how it is on this here show. Okay.
Yeah, we're very biased.
He's a history major, not a math major. So.
Fair enough.
Very true.
That's quite true, yes.
I will cop to that readily. So, all right. The draft order is determined by random.org before the podcast started. Kicking us off is going to be Dan, and then George, Willie, me, Chris, and finally Ferg.
Why do I go
man.
second again? What is this?
Hey, it's random.
I feel like I'm cheating.
It's just just how things got assigned. So.
You know, finally Ferg would make a great sitcom. I'd watch that.
I have seen that show. It's
finally
fantastic.
Ferg would be an interesting product. Is your
Yes,
computer
indeed.
slow? FinallyFerg.com.
That's not bad, actually.
As an aside, Ferg, the first article that you write for Geekade has to be titled now Finally Ferg.
Alrighty then, on that note.
Yeah.
Dan, why don't you go ahead with your first pick then, please?
All right, man, there's a lot of
Finally
pressure
Ferg,
on
isn't
here
it?
because I have some ones that I'm confident will not get picked,
Oh,
but
figured.
but I am
Pressure.
going to go with Chrono Trigger because I'm pretty sure that's on
Yeah.
everybody else's list.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
it was
won't
in
get another
mine.
shot.
Take that
Yeah.
right off my list.
I mean, what a fantastic game. Really,
I mean,
like
what is there to say?
No,
honestly?
I know. Like that's kind of the thing about Chrono Trigger is like there's nothing like I can't add a spoke to the wheel talking about Chrono Trigger. Like it has been discussed to death. But I think for me, what really set it apart and just what made it so cool and something that really stood out when I was a kid playing through it was the different combo attacks that you could do and like
From the dual text and the triple text. Hell yeah,
all of that
Sorry,
stuff.
heck yeah.
Like from what I can recall, and it's been quite a few years, but there really wasn't anything else out at the time that had anything like that.
Right.
Right.
I mean, honestly, there was in a lot of ways, really, there wasn't really much like Chrono Trigger. I mean, I wasn't really into turn-based RPGs until I played Chrono Trigger, because the whole the random battles weren't really a thing. You weren't walking around on a map and then you totally teleported to some other place where the battle was taking place. It was right there you ran.
Yeah, you could avoid it if you wanted to.
Exactly, you could walk by it, and then when you do those double texts, they actually show them combining their abilities. Like wherever Frog and Chrono are when they're doing an X strike, that X is going to happen exactly where they're positioned when you were walking. That game's brilliant on so many levels.
Yes. It really is, and the character design is some of Toriyama's best work.
Oh yeah,
by far. It's just
Blue
fabulous.
Dragon. This is not.
Yeah. No, certainly not.
Yeah.
Hey, you poo-pooing on Blue Dragon?
Yes.
Poo-pooing on Blue Dragon's art direction.
I haven't played it that much, but I own it. So.
Yeah. Plus the music, my two masterpieces coming together to have a challenge in this game. So.
Just out of control. Good. So that is my round one pick.
Awesome pick. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that really made the greatest impression for me as a kid is the fact that the main character can die during the game.
Right.
That's unheard of.
And not just die, game over. Now you have to pick somebody else to lead the party because he's been vaporized.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Am I the only one who hasn't played this game?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
George, you're up next.
Oh no, I'm from America. I'm from America. Sorry, we made this joke before. Anyway. He said Europe?
Okay.
Never mind.
I get it.
Europe is a continent. Read a book, people. Jesus. Anyway, my pick is Front Mission Gun Hazard.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I found it out. I learned about it from a random list of games and whatnot. And it just so happened there was a translation patch. And it's like, well, Greg, let's cover this game. And I was like, holy crap, this is a really cool game. It's like a spin-off from the Front Mission series, but it's like an action RPG kind of thing. It's pretty cool. It's a shame we didn't get it over here, but I can see why we didn't. It's got a great story. Everything's just great about it. It's fun and played. It's got the mechanical mech thingies, and you shoot people and they die.
It's a Squaresoft joint, right?
Yes.
Front Mission
Joint?
Squaresoft, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, joint.
I think it's pronounced Jert.
Joint. John.
Yeah, it really doesn't have too much to do with Front Mission itself, but the game itself is very fun to play, and it actually has a pretty good story.
Yeah, honestly, if you renamed it to something else, you probably couldn't really decipher that it was a Front Mission game, but it does kind of take place in that world, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome. Okay. Willie, it's your turn.
You know what I'm going to pick? Mr. Do.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw this coming.
Oh, yeah. I love
Yeah.
Mr. Do.
Yeah,
Especially
very
on
good
Don't say that in public.
Especially on the Super Nintendo, because it has that head-to-head two-player mode that me and my wife like to play when we're drunk. It's loads of fun throwing balls at each other in this little maze.
Willie just really knows how to have fun.
Oh,
Yes, he does.
Oh, yeah.
It is a good version of that arcade
My
game.
favorite version of Mr. Do.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere because Super NES didn't really get a whole bunch of older arcade ports. It was more like the newer arcade games that came on the system. So this kind of came out of left field, but yeah, like what we said,
until the
excellent
end of
port.
its life, when you got Space Invaders and Frogger, Ms. Pac-Man,
Yeah.
right towards the end of its life, and now Space Invaders. It's it's the Game Boy game kind of. Enjoy.
It's exactly
Well,
the Game
Space
Boy
Invaders
game,
and
I think.
Pac-Man are very good, but Frogger, ugh.
Yeah, no, that was grotesque.
Ugh. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Awesome. Okay. Well, I kicked off the first podcast for my first pick as being a somewhat obscure game, kind of game I really like in the system that probably nobody else does. So I'll do it again on this podcast. It's a very unique game, and it's a game that Ferg's gonna probably moan when he hears me say it. But
oh no, it's a flight simulator.
What kind of game are you picking?
Well, it's somewhat related to that. It's Aerobiz Supersonic.
Right on.
Of course. All right. Yeah.
It's a very unique light strategy simulation game from Koei. We actually get to run an airplane company. And there's really nothing out there like it. It's very, very unique, very different. There's 4 different difficulties. There are time periods, so you kind of go from like early periods with early planes to like late planes, and you just basically just run the company. Like just trying to assign routes, haggle out prices, buy planes, that kind of stuff. It's not very deep, but there's still enough strategy definitely here to really keep you engaged. And you can also assign challenges to yourself if you want to. For example, if you want to play in Moscow, you'd have to make do with those sucky Russian planes that crash every 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. Shots fired, Russia. Do you hear that?
No offense to any listeners out there, of course, but this is a very fun. It's a very, very fun game. It's very unique. There's really nothing out there like it. So it's definitely like a very interesting game to anybody who enjoys it like Koei games at all. So you'll highly recommend it.
Oh, I guess I gotta play it at some point.
So, Chris, what's your first pick for us?
Well, I guess that kind of depends. What flavor of Super Mario All-Stars did you guys talk about?
Oh no, are we doing this again?
No, I don't think so. Just the first release, Super Mario All-Stars, that had the 3 Mario games plus lost levels.
Gotcha. Then my first pick is Super Mario World.
Yep, that was on my list too.
Genuinely shocked it didn't show up on there.
I
know
was
it's
too.
kind of like the default Super Nintendo game, but it's one of the games I go back to more often than almost anything. I've played through this game beginning to end almost annually. It's just like second nature. It's darn near flawless as far as just every single aspect of it. The level design, the controls, even the ridiculous little cutscenes when you have to knock down the castles and Mario pulls out a paintbrush or a mop or whatever and erases it. Like, this game is just ridiculous. It's extraordinarily nostalgic for me. The commercials for it is still one of my favorite commercials ever made. It's great music. Koji Kondo doing his thing, like a high bar. Like, it's just an amazing game.
I disagree entirely.
yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, the sequel to me is garbage because I can't stand that stupid crying baby. That drives me.
I'm not even counting that as a sequel.
That drives me a freaking wall. But
I hate that game. Yeah.
But yeah, Super Mario World. I'm definitely right there with you, Chris. This is still my favorite Mario game period of all time.
Same here, hands down.
This is a great game. It's like I didn't think Mario 3 could be topped, but somehow they topped it.
Yeah,
and
they did. They refined everything
Mario
that was
3
great about
never
Mario
topped.
3.
You're right.
Oh, jeez.
The things with the finding the secret exits, the keys, the way they expanded on the map system. It was just everything Mario 3 did, but refined and it's wonderful.
Wait, are you telling me I have to play this game?
Oh yeah, definitely play this game.
You're not a platformer fan, are you?
I like the Mario games, but for some reason this just wasn't a game that I ever really tried to finish or even really play. I own it. I own a Japanese copy somehow. I don't know how that happened, but
yeah, do it. It's great.
Okay.
It's joy in a rectangle.
It is a lot of fun, yeah.
No, I love rectangles. That sounds great.
Yeah. So I think the reason you asked that question the way you did, Chris, is because I do remember later on in his life, they released a combo pack with both Mario All-Stars and Mario World on it.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get into this again, like we did that episode 1, kind of.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I'd go so far as to say Mario World may be the best packing game, period. Bar none.
Well, considering that packing games weren't really a thing after this, so...
Well, no, there were a little bit after this, but I mean, it's pretty much toss it for me between this and Tetris. Because Tetris was also an awesome pack-in.
That's true.
I'd say Super Mario World's probably better than Tetris as a pack-in.
Ooh.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
I
And
would.
I like Tetris. I like
Yeah,
Tetris. So.
I bought a
You
Game
guys are
Boy
just
for
talking
Tetris.
original back-end, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually they pack in everything. You can get a
Yeah.
PS4 with Uncharted, like they still do pack-ins now. But launch
That was me.
pack-ins, yeah,
Not
this is
launch
a-
pack-ins, no.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, how can we make more money? Oh, I know. Eventually, we'll just release the console and the game. And then people would be like, hey, I gotta buy this so I can sell it on eBay for $500 more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, rounding out round one. Ferg, what do you got for us?
Well, Super Noah's Ark 3D was a game that really appealed to me as a young
no.
altar boy. No, I'm just kidding.
that game's a masterpiece, and you know it.
Hey, they remade it and put it on Steam,
They
okay?
did, yeah.
Listen.
So I think from all of us, I'm the person who has the least amount of experience with the Super Nintendo, so my pick might be a little wonky. And a lot of them are based on... No? Okay. A lot of them are based on sentimentality because this was my wedding present from my wife, Sarah. So she I'm going to pick Bust a Move first because that's the game we played a lot together.
Nice.
That's not a wonky pick at all, dude.
Okay.
I love Bust a
Yeah,
Move.
it's very solid.
She used to play it on the Neo Geo cabinet, and then I found out it was on the Super Nintendo, and I bought it for her. And we played it a lot right after we got married.
The bestest.
It's not. I don't know if it's like a Puyo Puyo type of game. It's not exactly that, but it's kind of similar to that. It was the first.
Nowhere near.
Okay, well, it's the first.
Almost like that
type
in
of-
reverse.
Okay,
Puyo Puyo is like Mean Bean Machine. Actually, it literally is Mean
It
Bean
literally
Machine.
is Mean
okay.
Bean Machine. Yeah,
but there's stuff on the top and okay, I see what you're saying. But yeah,
it's a color matching puzzle game.
yes.
Basically,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of fun. It's still fun now. We still play it occasionally now, and it brings back a lot of those memories. But we just, for hours, we play this game. And it's a lot of fun. I like the music in the game. It doesn't get annoying to me. I know it gets annoying to some people. 'cause it's
Really?
played
It's like
over
a
and over
10-second
again.
loop or something, right?
Yeah, I love it.
I mean,
love the
it
music.
sounds great, but if you're playing the game for like 3 hours, you're like,
No.
I just want to jump out the window.
No, I'm good. I'm good. There's not really music that annoys me too much. I mean, if I could listen to the overworld music in Zelda for hours and hours, I'm fine. So
That's different, though. That's longer
Well-
than like 10 seconds.
that's true. Yeah.
Well, this
But-
is the guy who does Toys the Hunter podcast, mind you. Like what's the definition of music is like beep boop beep. So
Yeah. Plus, I like the Mythicon music. So
Oh God.
Okay.
That,
So, yeah,
that would
Bust a
grab me
Move.
out a window.
Bust a Move is my pick.
Yeah, not a bad pick at all for a great puzzle game. I remember covering that. I hadn't played it until I covered it for the podcast a while back, and yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but,
You're
love
welcome,
yeah.
Greg.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you were on that one. Look at me, George. Sorry.
Yeah,
it wasn't that
was
long
my
ago.
pick.
I don't think, was it?
That was my pick.
I think it was about a year and a half ago at this point. Time flies.
Oh crap!
Yeah, that's scary. Let's not look back.
No, the podcast has been going on for over 3 years now, so that's scary.
Yeah.
All right, round two. Dan, start us off.
Fight.
All right, I am going with Final Fantasy 3 or 6, depending on if you want to be one of those guys.
I was very afraid you were going to take something of mine.
Mystic Knights or whatever? No.
No. Oh, come on. Oh,
Mystic
come
Quest,
on now.
sir.
Mystic Quest, I'm very sorry. I apologize.
Excuse me, it is Mystic Quest.
How very dare I?
Yes.
This to me, like, it's a toss-up between this and 7 as to which is the best Final Fantasy. Like, sometimes this one edges out really because of Kefka. I mean, the scene with Kefka is just so gorgeous and so stunning. And, like, I am a grown man with children of my own. Like, I am a full adult, and I am comfortable enough to admit that sitting in my bedroom in New Jersey as a young boy playing through this game, I cried, like, just rolling tears, like I was so emotionally impacted by this game, and no game had ever done that to me before. And, you know, since I've had children now, like, there's tons of stuff that makes me cry, because as a father with daughters, I'm like, oh, there's sweetness in the world, and I just sob uncontrollably, just rolling
When
tears.
they turn 16, you know.
Well, no, sure.
You'll be crying for a different reason.
It's still gonna be tears. But man, when I was a kid, this game just like it hit me in right in the feels, and I believe this is the first one that the first one that had some different designers in it too. So there's kind of where Final Fantasy was going, which is a podcast for another podcast to argue whether or not it's the right direction as far as that is concerned.
Right.
But the character of Shadow, I always thought was such a cool character too. Man, I love this game to pieces. Absolutely adore it, and have played through this one more than any of the other Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah, Saw pick. This is on my list for sure. Just the quintessential RPG on the system, I think. But I still prefer 4 just a wee bit more. But 6 is an amazing game. Like it's an amazing game, like its own right. Like you said, the characters, the story, the music, like it all comes together like very well. So, just really the quintessential classic RPG, I think.
Yeah, and this really was like the swan song for what Final Fantasy was versus what it was to become, and then the online stuff and all that changed it. But this is really classic Final Fantasy, like what we all fell in love with as kids. And like when we still think of RPGs, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but at least for me, when I think RPG, like this is what I flash back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I flash back to Final Fantasy X because I'm young.
Yes.
Fair enough.
It's this and Chrono Trigger for me.
Yeah, I mean, like between those two,
that's understandable.
Plus Kefka showed up in Puzzle and Dragon, so that made me super happy, and I could get a Puzzle and Dragons reference on another podcast. Again,
do it if you weren't.
doing solid work here.
I mean, if you want to talk about Puzzle and Dragons, you could have talked about Mario.
That's true. That's true.
You could always wrap it around. That's a good game too.
It is a good game. It is.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't follow that up. So George.
All right. So I was very afraid you were going to steal my pick, which was Final Fantasy V. A game we originally didn't get over here, but it's I'll let you know, it's really cheap on eBay, and also you could just get a translation patch. So I have a Retron 5, so I just I did that. I spent I want to say maybe $20 or less on Final Fantasy V, and then I was like, boop, translation patch, and here we go. It's great. I think it's the first one with the job system. So when Final Fantasy Tactics came out, it was a little confusing for people over here because we never got a job system really before. And Final Fantasy V, I believe, was the first one to do that. It's really cool. It's just got a bunch of different stuff you can do, and it's got an interesting story right from the beginning, and it's fun. It's just great. Anyone who hasn't played it, I honestly suggest that you just go and play it. It's great.
Yeah, the game's readily available on both the handhelds and also on Steam. So.
Is it now? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, readily available. This never grabbed me as much as 4 and 6 did. Maybe because I didn't play as a kid, so my nostalgia for it is more limited. But yeah, it's not a bad game. I mean,
it totally grabbed me because what you can do is all right, I'm gonna put you as this job, and you're gonna unlock these skills or whatever. Then I'm gonna swap that out and give you this job, but you're still gonna retain some of the things that you learned from the other job, and that's pretty OP if you really work on it.
Sure.
So that's a really cool system.
This is the one that had Exodeth, right?
Yes.
That was that dude was bananas. Just a super cool design. Just evil. Absolutely evil. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, Gilgamesh is an interesting character too.
Oh, that's right. He's in there, and is Bart's is the main character of this one?
Yeah, it's a bad name, but Bart.
It's not the coolest hero name in the world, but
no.
I mean, it's better than Pooh, so
I suppose that's true. Okay, Willie, your turn.
All right. Well, I love beat 'em up games. So one of my favorites on the Super Nintendo, which I didn't really talk about anywhere else, not even on the book for Brett, was the Death and Return of Superman.
Nice.
Now, I'm a big Superman fan. As a matter of fact, I'm missing the celebration that's this weekend in Metropolis, Illinois, unfortunately.
Oh.
But I love this game on the Super Nintendo. I've actually got it on my Genesis, but I first played it on the Super Nintendo. And of course, when you play the Man of Steel, and you just beat up the living daylights on all these bad guys. It actually follows the comic book fairly well. It has like little comic cut scenes in there between the levels, and you play as the other 4 Supermen, just like in the comics. It's actually a pretty fun beat 'em up game. It's a go-to game for me on the Super Nintendo.
That sounds really cool. I never heard of this game, honestly.
It's awesome. I love the artwork on the box of this thing.
Yeah, it's the Doomsday Fist, right? Just pop right through. Yeah, this is a pretty cool game. I like it.
Yeah, this one is excellent, and really, unfortunately, one of the few good Superman games.
Yep.
Like it's like this and the Taito one, the arcade game.
Atari 2600.
Yeah, that one was good too.
No, Ferg, we're talking about good games.
I like Superman on the 2600. Come on.
It was pretty ambitious for 2600 standards. I'll admit that.
I like the box.
So, yeah.
It's hard to gauge those games now because I'm playing a game that's 500 hours long, and then Superman's like, oh, this is like 2 minutes. Like,
Yep.
This gets repetitive.
Or less,
I
yeah.
used to play the Superman theme when I played that game on the 2600.
Well, there you go. Hey, man, if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard of this game. I never actually played it though. It didn't because, like you said, the track record of Superman games is so bad. I just assumed it wasn't any good. So
even in modern times, the track record is bad.
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. But
I want to talk more about that at some point. So
we will. Yeah, for sure. So, but I'll check this out. So, great pick. Thanks. Let's see, my turn. Well, I gotta go for heavy hitter here. I was gonna grab this game in round 1. Just didn't have time for it. I'm definitely taking it now, like in this round, because because I love this game to death. Still, my favorite game of the franchise, bar none. Super Castlevania 4.
Ooh. Yes. Yes.
Just amazing on so many levels. I have strong nostalgia for this game because I was stuck in bed all week when it came out, recovering from wisdom teeth surgery. So I decided to play the heck out of this game, and it's like I beat it. I mean, this took the NES games and it raised it up a whole different level. Being able to whip in 8 directions, just the amazing graphics and the amazing
wiggly
graphics.
whip.
Yep. Moonwalking up the stairs too. That was also pretty cool.
How about that stream you did recently, Greg? Huh? How about that stream?
I played the game recently. Like through a stream, and I did manage to beat it one night. Though it took longer than I'd planned. But
it did.
It's a hard game, but not too hard. I think so. The difficulty is right about right. Just really, for an early game, really great job by Konami showing off what the system could do in terms of both graphical hardware and also the soundtrack. Oh, the soundtrack's so good.
Yeah, I'd especially say the soundtrack as far as showing what the Super Nintendo could do.
Yes.
Like, coming off of the NES games and going to this is like...
Gotta use that Sony hardware to good use.
That version of the remix of Bloody Tears and Clock Tower is just so good.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
It's oddly enough, I like the original compositions in this one better than the remixes. Like, the remixes are super cool, but I feel like Dracula X did the remixes a bit better. I mean, granted, it was years later, but the original compositions in this one are just like, theme of Simon Belmont is just, it's insane.
Yes.
It's such an amazing song.
Yeah.
One of the best first level tunes ever, too. Just that giant gate that just right up in the beginning of the game. It's so cool. It's so good.
Yeah, this game's like filled with like small touches like that. Just a really awesome platformer. Sorry, Willie, I didn't mean to cut you off. Like, would you say something? Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Boy, there are a lot of cheap shots being taken this podcast.
Shots at Russia, shots at Ferg. Jeez. What's next?
Well, Chris, I hope I didn't take one of your picks. So what do you have?
No, actually, I mean, I kind of feel like this isn't really a competition or anything, right? We're just talking about games that we want to talk about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stray a little bit off of the beaten path here and talk about just a game that I have always loved, and I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone else who's even mentions this game in the same breath as anything else. I love Tin Star.
What is that?
This is a wacky old game. It was on it was post Donkey Kong Country. It used to come on that poster that said, had a list of all the super cool games to get on your Super Nintendo, like Donkey Kong Country and Super Metroid, Super Punch Out, and Tin Star. And I took one look at that and said, that's colorful. I'll give that a shot. So I got the game, and it's almost like a target shooter, like an arcade style. Just move a little cursor around on the screen and shoot the targets. But it does these three kind of different types, like these different flavors of stages that you can do. One of them being where the titular character Tin Star is running around and you're moving the cursor around on the screen, shooting all the different things. It works with the Super NES mouse, so it's super easy to play, and it controls like a dream. And it looks amazing. It's got super cool music, and there's just really not much like it. I love on-rail shooters, like arcade games like House of the Dead and whatnot. So playing a game like that at home, and doing all these really clever, creative things with it, like the quick draw segments are really cool. You like your opponent you see like them down on the other end of this alley, and in one of the four corners, your gun will show up in the corner. You have to shoot that, and then shoot to draw your gun, and then shoot the other person before they shoot you. It's a really clever way of handling all that stuff, and the game is super funny. Like, the writing is really, really funny. There's it's really kind of like the Tick style humor. So he's like this big, giant-jawed robot superhero cowboy sheriff guy, and his sidekick Mo and his trusty horse Aluminum, and you're traveling through the wild east, and it's just bizarre and really funny, and nobody ever talks about it because I don't think anybody ever played it, but it's
I didn't
a really
even know
great
about
game.
it, so
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely curious now.
Yeah, definitely look it up. It was a Nintendo published title, and it's really, really good looking. Like I said, it's got really good soundtrack, and as far as like target shooting type games, you can play it with a controller and move the cursor around with the D-pad, which is alright. You can play it with a Super Scope, but since the scope kind of narrows your field of vision, when you look through it, it's not really the best way to play it. If you can play it with a Mario Paint mouse, just get a controller extension. It's really, really fun game. Really clever, really funny, good jokes. I love this game to death.
cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So yep. So we're getting a good mix of heavy hitters and obscure games like this podcast too. So I'm pleased to see that. But awesome. Ferg, finish up for round 2, please, sir.
All right, I will continue the obscurity with On the Ball, a title game. It's actually based on an arcade game, Camel Tree, which I didn't realize at the time. I don't know how I found this game. I never saw the arcade game. I think Camel Tree was only released in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
But it might have been the Digital Press fanzine, because I was getting that at the time. They might have mentioned it in there. But I was a big Marble Madness fan. This is not the only similarity, I think, is the marble, because in this game you're moving the maze. You have to get your marble through the maze, and you got a bunch of obstacles, but you move the maze instead of the actual marble, which I thought was really cool. And
yeah, this is a cool game.
It is a very cool game, yeah. I think, was this the first episode I was on, Greg? It might have been. Yeah. Yeah, because Greg and I actually found out that we played in a high score competition on the Digital Press website back in like 2005 or something like this.
Oh, I remember the story, yes.
But now it reminds me of the Extra Life Marathon, because I always play at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I love the music in this game too. Yes. And it just reminds me of being sleepy and trying to make my way through the different mazes. I used to be really good at it, but now I'm not, unfortunately. But
yeah, this is a hard game too.
It's a hard game, but it's a lot of fun. And sadly, the last time I played it, I got a little bit sick because I don't normally do that.
Oh.
The movement doesn't normally bother me, but it did this time, so I was a little worried about that. I haven't played it since then, so.
You're getting old.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Ferg, do you? I forget. Do you have a Wii?
Yes.
Okay. Did you play the game Koro Rinpa?
No.
Look it up. It's basically a 3D version of this. You use the Wii remote, like you twist it around to move.
He's gonna be puking everywhere.
The puzzle.
Yeah. If On the Ball makes you sick, Kuro Rimpa is not gonna be a good evening for.
Yeah. Or it's gonna be a great evening.
Or it's gonna be great. Yeah. Maybe
just
do
the Willie gameplay system. You know what I mean? It's even better.
Nah, that's a good pick, Ferg. I like this game. But yeah, look up Koro Rinpa. It's a pretty wild game, and it's pretty similar to this.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
No. Yeah, I figured Ferg picked this, like, saw a pick. So, great. Okay, quick question, guys. Since we're in round 2, halfway through this, does anybody need a break?
I'm good.
I could use more water, because apparently I just sweated it all out.
Okay.
All right, well, let Ferg get us water.
All right, start of round 3. Dan, hit us with your pick, please.
All right. So since we had briefly discussed beat 'em ups earlier, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite beat 'em ups on the system, which is Knights of the Round.
Oh
yes.
Oh hey.
One of.
I knew it.
I am such a huge fan of beat 'em ups, and it is a genre that we are sorely lacking in today. Like they're just not. I mean, God, what was the last like big budget beat 'em up that came out? Like the Bouncer. That game was awesome.
What? What? That game's all right.
Comparatively speaking. I mean, anyway.
It's all right at best.
So, Knights of the Round is just a walking to the right, hitting stuff with a sword. Basic. It's like a classier Golden Axe. The characters are more dressed. There's not as grotesque of monsters because, as the title would imply, you are playing as King Arthur. You know, you have Excalibur, and he's very regal and hoity-toity and whatever. You could also pick from Lancelot and Percival were the other two that you could pick from. But it is a gorgeous game. It looks, they were doing incredible work on Super Nintendo, and the sprite work here is beautiful. Music is really good. The game plays about as good as a beat 'em up can play. The environments are cool. Like, just everything about this is a game that way more people should have played. Like, when people talk about beat 'em ups, it's like, oh, Streets of Rage and Final Fight, which are great, but this gets like so ignored. You know, it's an awesome.
I think it also kind of gets overshadowed by like King of Dragons too. I feel like I hear about that one more, and they both came out around the same time, and they're both Capcom gorgeous beat 'em up games. But yeah, no, Knights of the Round is killer.
I think this one's better than King of Dragons. Dude.
Well, you know my stance on this game. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. That was your episode, your first episode.
Yes, it was. You know, after my wife and I wiped the floor with Golden Axe, we started playing this game. Give us more of a challenge.
Yeah, it's not the easiest game. It's not the easiest beat 'em up, but it is just it's one of the ones like you feel a definite sense of accomplishment when you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
Plus, I really love the small touch that your characters like as they get stronger and more stronger. Yeah, exactly.
Are you okay?
Yeah, they basically get. They actually get bigger and stronger on screen. It's nice. Yeah, nice touch.
It's it would be sad if I did not mention, and I think you can only do it like 2 times, maybe 3, where you can get on the horse. When you knock one of the knights off of the horse, like you can take their horse and get a mount in the game for a little bit. So good.
Yeah, great pick. Definitely underrated. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. So thanks.
Excellent. I feel like I'm winning. I gotta say.
Once you get on the horse, you can start singing, "Look at my horse is amazing."
But does he taste just like raisins?
I don't know. You have to taste it yourself.
George, you are next.
Cool. I'm going to pick Romancing Saga 2, a game we never got until very recently. So I actually never played the original Super Famicom version, but they re-released it on phones and console, and I think it's on Steam as well. I've been playing this on my Switch, actually, which is pretty good for pick up and go. But Romancing Saga 2 is really interesting. You're like you play as king of this this like continent or whatever, and you know, trouble comes up and you gotta fight it, and it's really interesting because it's got this it's kind of got like a Phantasy Star type of deal with it, where like you have successors. So like once your character dies or fulfills their mission, you move on to the next successor, and what gets carried over is your money, your weapons and items and everything, and also your skills, which is really interesting. So it's kind of like a roguelike in a way, but not exactly. It's really cool. I honestly, if I played the first Romancing Saga, I'd probably pick that, because that one seems more interesting, on top of it having a couple of like remakes, especially on like PS2. But this is the one that I have the most experience with. So this is a really cool RPG. I suggest people take a look at it, since it only somewhat recently came out in this territory.
Yeah, I don't think most of the romancing games came out here in the West. I think, I think originally we only
Romancing, I think Romancing Saga 3, or no, I think the first one, like I said, I think the first one was remade on PS2, and we actually got that, I believe. So, yeah, it was really, really weird. But it's a good game.
Yeah, I played a little bit of the series, but not really that much to be able to comment on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a lot of my picks. If Aaron was here, he'd be like, oh, hey, yeah, that game. He'd probably know what I was talking about.
Willie, it's your turn.
Super Mario Kart.
Hey!
Yes,
I love racing games, and this is a go-to game for me on the Super Nintendo. It's a lot of fun to play multiplayer.
Definitely a good pick, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Another great franchise that got started on Humble Super at the Super NES.
Yeah, and it's still going today.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how popular and good it is.
Down at this game store down in Charlotte, Save Point Video Games, they use this game every once in a while as a competition thing to give out prizes.
Is that a good store?
Yeah, it's an awesome store.
All right, well, we're gonna have to talk about that later.
Do they race or do they do battle mode?
They just do the race.
This was like
kind of on the original game.
I kind of like the battle mode on this one. I mean, I
the
guess
battle
everyone now
mode's
talks
probably
about the
worse on Mario Kart 8, but
yeah, it got better with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because it wasn't that stinking drive around the racetrack
they changed
one.
it up.
Yeah, they actually made an actual
totally
battle mode.
Yeah.
I spent a ton of time with the battle mode in this one with my friend Greg, just jumping in and out of the weird little places you're not supposed to go, and I just loved the idea of this the battle mode in this.
Yeah, I also played this game a lot as like a kid. Like, great racing game. Again, I think the later games have far surpassed this game, but for what it was on the hardware, it's very, very good, very impressive.
You guys should play the hacks. The people made hacks where like they changed up courses and whatnot. Like they make new courses and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Advance sequel was really cool too because it included all the Super Nintendo courses because it was the only other one that. It's really good. It plays like an advancement of this one instead of Mario Kart 64 and whatnot where it went all 3D. This used that similar Mode 7 effect.
Wait, you're saying the Game Boy Advance version is an advanced version of that?
But I'm bumped.
Yeah, great pick, Willie. Like, you took mine right there. So, like, kudos to, I like you for that. All right then, I'll go with round 4 pick then. I have to think of something else like the last round. I'm not usually a huge fan of racing games, but I fell in love with this game almost as soon as I started playing it. The classic game F-Zero.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Thought
Just
you were going to take one of mine, but you didn't.
It's good.
I mean, for launch game, it's very, very good. The graphics are great.
Yes. The Mode 7 and everything.
The Mode 7, the racing is so smooth and fast. It really makes you feel like, you're actually like on a racetrack. Very different racetracks too. I mean, yes, they do. I mean, yes, the tracks do repeat after a while, but they still, but they don't repeat the same way. There's still different bends and twists and turns in the course, like whatnot.
Another game that spawned awesome sequels.
Yeah, it's
true.
too bad. Yeah, it's too bad F-Zero's pretty much dead these days. But oh well. But
But hey, man, that GX, I go back to it. It's great.
Yeah, that game's great.
Yeah.
That desert level in this original one where you jump on the arrow and then you jump off the course onto the arrow.
Yeah.
That's like one of the coolest things ever, man. That is just awesome.
Yeah, extremely good music too. Like like a great, great soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's my favorite soundtrack in the series too, because after this one they just kind of went straight to the hardcore butt rock, and this one just sounds like video game music.
What is butt rock?
I don't know. Rock that sounds like it's coming out of someone's butt, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, so a Genesis soundtrack.
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Phil Collins band.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Was it the Was it the N64 F-Zero with F-Zero like when they had the remix of Big Blue? I think that's where that. I think that I can't remember if it was that game or like that game, like the GameCube one that they used that. But yeah. The GameCube F-Zero was one of the only games that actually made me motion sick.
It's very like when you talk about like, does it seem like you're actually going this fast? That's one of those games where yes, it actually seems pretty accurate. And
I've never played anything else with that sense of speed. It's ridiculous.
Right. The sense of speed is ridiculous on that game, and the problem is like it only gets harder the better your vehicle gets, because like you can upgrade your vehicle or make new ones or whatever, and like it just like at some point you're going so fast you'll like, oh wait, there was a turn. Whoops. Oh, I'm too late. I guess I'm retired.
I'm not even. I was surprised by this game because I'm not really like a big fan of racing games, but this one I just like fell in love with like right away. It's like it's so unique. I think in some ways.
Yeah.
It's just like, great game. I said it. I said it last time. I think the five launch games of the system may be the best launch games of the system. Period. But just like the opening games, like this system, like, are just so good. But
yeah, you want to see a crazy speed run? Watch somebody speed run time trials of GX.
Ooh,
oh my god, that's nuts! I was watching that. It was like a few weeks ago. I was watching that for some reason.
It's almost like Super Monkey Ball speedruns.
How are you even doing? Like, I can't even contemplate doing that.
It's a lot of skill and patience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kris, your round 3 pick.
Alright, I'm gonna stick with the, I guess, slightly off the beaten path ones, because this is another game I don't think gets the credit it deserves, but it was on the Super NES Classic Edition, and that made me happy. Kirby's Dream Course.
Oh,
yeah. Cool. Yeah. I never played that, but I've seen some footage of it.
Yeah, same
it's
here.
So cool. It's like mini golf, kind of.
We're up Ferg's alley.
Yes.
You get all the enemies.
I've heard some people actually say it's kind of like pool.
It is kind of like pool. It's kind of like a cross between pool and mini golf.
Kirby around like a cue ball.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like banking off of walls and whatnot. There are walls you can bounce off of. But it is also a very Kirby game too, because you get all the little powers from the Kirby series when you hit the enemies that have those powers. And then you can use those to try to get into to finish your shot or whatever. I'm trying to avoid that's what she said jokes. It's also
insert that's what she prefer jokes right there. I can't even say it. That's just how strict my filter is right now.
The part of this game that deserves like so much credit is its versus mode. This game is so much fun playing against somebody else, and it's just brutally mean because you wind up just like every single time you hit one of the characters in the game, one of the bad guys in the game, it leaves a star behind. and the person with the most stars wins that round. But you can just kind of ram into each other's stars, so you can steal them after they take a turn. And then it's ridiculously complex, but it's super fun. This game is incredible. It's also really great music. Some of my favorite renditions of any Kirby songs are in this game, but it's easy to learn, difficult to master. If you get golds on all the courses, the whole world opens up to it's like Symphony of the Night style Upside Down Castle. You get to do all the stages again, but remixed. It's ridiculous.
No.
This game is so good. And pink.
Well, it is a Kirby game.
It's
I
also
hope that's
super
what
sharp.
you mean.
That isometric look on it, everything's checkerboard. It's really sharp looking game. It's really, really, really stark when you look at it. It's just okay. That is what that game is. It's almost reminds me of some of like Rare's NES stuff, like Snake, Rattle, and Roll. It's you just look at it and say, okay, that is very much that game. It's very identifiable by how sharp it looks. It's very nice.
Yeah. I've not played this game, so I'm curious to check it out. Definitely sounds a lot of fun.
It is definitely a lot of fun.
Okay, then. Finally, finishing up round 3. Ferg.
Okay, I'm going for the big one this time to save my hipster pick for last. Donkey Kong Country. This...
Yay!
Yeah. I was just getting back into classic games when this came out, so I was very happy to play this. It's a beautiful looking game. That kind of went over my head, though. I really like... One of my favorite things in this game is playing the different characters, like the shark, and all the different kind of controls that you have to learn to get through the game. And I love that you could change characters so much, even with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. But I think the biggest thing for me in this game is the music. It is absolutely gorgeous, atmospheric music. I know Chris probably agrees with me.
I adore that game.
Yeah, David Wise is so good, and I didn't realize how much I liked him before because I didn't know he did the music for Wizards and Warriors, which is one of my favorite NES soundtracks. But I play this game so much. I needed to get a guide because I suck at video games, and I had to find all the hidden stuff. I still haven't found all the hidden stuff in the game, but I do go back to it and play it. It's just a beautiful game, and I don't know if I like this. I think I would probably like this one the best out of the 3 because I did like number 2 quite a bit. And I still haven't gotten through number 3 yet, but this one's probably my favorite one out of the 3. Better on the SNES.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I like the first one the best too.
Yeah, the first time I played this game, that my jaw just dropped because I'm just like, I can't believe the Super NES people were doing this.
Yeah.
Because this just looks so good. I mean, I was playing PlayStation games by the time this came out, and this
Yeah,
got me
you
back to
were.
Super NES. Yeah. Yeah, and this got me back to Super NES for several months. It's just it's so gorgeous. But yeah.
Did you guys get the VHS tape? Did anyone get that mailed to their house?
I think I did. I think I probably just tossed it right out, though.
Oh, dude.
Which I wish I hadn't done, because that's probably clever side in these days. But oh well.
I watched that thing so many. I was so hyped for this game. It was unbelievable. I got that thing in the mail. I wasn't even a Nintendo Power subscriber, so I don't know how it showed up. But my mom gave it to me one day, and I was just like, "What is this?" And I still go back watching it. It's hilarious watching this Dan Cortez wannabe hosting the video. Heading over to their headquarters. But oh my god, I played through this game just an unfathomable number of times. My buddy Adam and I would wear Donkey Kong Country pre-order t-shirts to school every Friday for months. And god, I love this game with every fiber of my being. It's a freaking masterpiece. And David Wise music again. Yeah, outstanding. He didn't do that one solo. He did all of Country 2. This was Robin Beanland, and why can't I remember who else was on this one?
I had it up here.
So just a quick
Evelyn
side
Fisher,
question.
that's it. Evelyn Fisher.
Oh, okay. Just a quick side question, Chris. Did you ever check out the Game Boy ports?
I did. Well, all right. So Donkey Kong Land, the regular Game Boy ones, those weren't actually ports. Those were more or less remixes or something. Especially the first one, which I love. Yeah. I did play the Game Boy Color ones. one of those things that you like the N64 version of Resident Evil 2, where you're just like, I can't believe somebody did this. I just can't believe this is real. Somebody crammed this game into a Game Boy Color. So that's kind of fascinating in its own right. I didn't really love the GBA version of it. I feel like Donkey Kong Country kind of gets a bad reputation these days for not holding up visually. And I think it's people thinking about the GBA version, because the Super Nintendo one I still think looks gorgeous. I think the GBA version is just kind of hideous. They really oversaturated the colors because the original GBA didn't have a backlit screen, so it was like they kind of pushed too hard in that direction, and it's kind of gaudy looking, and it feels kind of off too. But nothing beats that. Just
would you say they pushed too hard and then they farted?
I would say probably.
Like,
I mean, that happens to me all the time.
Original Super Nintendo one, like, I mean, if we're talking about it in the context of the time, it has the rare distinction, no pun intended, of being one of the games, like, where, again, I'm pretty confident in speaking for everyone, where we sat down and went, well, it's not going to look any better than that. That's as good as that's ever gonna look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, of course, how wrong we were, but man, like the first time you see that game, it definitely does show its age, because, you know, like, I felt the same way about Lawnmower Man when I saw that. I was like, oh, it's the future! Nothing's getting better! No movie will ever look this good! You know, and then, like, years later, I was like, Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow! It's the most gorgeous thing ever! Nothing will ever look this cool! And, but, you know, like, when you look back at it, I mean, looking at it out of context certainly shows age, but, man, that first time you played that game, nothing should have looked that good or ran that well or been that smooth on a Super Nintendo. That just shouldn't have been possible.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, 100% agree with that. You're great pick. Alrighty, round 4. Dan, you get to speak some more.
This is well, I do that. I'm good at it. This is our final round, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to go in the complete opposite direction of Donkey Kong Country, which is a masterpiece, and pick a game that I think only I ever loved, and that is the one-on-one. I don't even think it had a versus mode. Fighting game Ultraman. This game is horrible.
Yes. Okay.
It's not good, but man, like, watching Channel 57 out of Philadelphia as a kid, and they would show like kung fu movies, and then Ultraman would come on. And then I would go to school and be like, guys, have you seen Ultraman? It's this really cool show. And they'd be like, no, you're weird. Go away. And I'd be like, oh, but no. Like, Ultraman's really awesome. And, like, I loved Ultraman, like, with every fiber of my little being. And then I, like, just browsing through a video game store in town. Like, I would flip-flop between renting the Ranma 1/2 game and Ultraman, because I was that kid. And I loved this game. Like, it's not a good fighting game at all. Like, you could punch, you could kick, and you could, like, suplex the monsters that you were fighting. And you would have to...
Oh my god. That's awesome. Yeah,
you would, like... But you could do that forever. You could never defeat the monster unless you hit them, with the burning plasma, the big Ultraman attack, right? The, you know, big special effecty thing on the TV show. You had to hit that at the end of the match in order to kill the monster. As you went through, like, there was some strategy to it, because the monsters would adapt. Like, the first couple of dudes you fought, they would just like, well, I guess you're gonna hit me with the thing, I'll just stand here. But then as you, like, went through, they would have different, like, ways of getting out of the way, different ways to
You're gonna suplex me? I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir. So, like, there was a little bit of strategy, and you could, like, charge up some other special moves, but I was just... I would sit there and play this game, and in my... Like, I can't believe I am playing an Ultraman game. This is the coolest. So that's my... I was confident in my other picks that they might have been on somebody else's list. I was 100% certain that nobody else was picking Ultraman.
Yeah, not me.
It was on my list, man.
Sure, Willie. Sure.
I mean, like, now, am I the only, like, Ultraman fan on the podcast currently? Because, like, not a thing I'm not used to.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of Godzilla, but
okay.
I've never seen an Ultraman movie.
Oh. So, I mean, I don't know if you should. I don't know if I can confidently recommend them. Like, are you a fan of old Godzilla as well, like 54?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
then yes, watch Ultraman. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's
I'll check it out. Thanks.
awesome.
All right, George, what do you have for your last pick?
Oh boy, I'm gonna choose the game Live a Live. Again, another game that never, ever, ever came over here and probably never will. But our friend Tim kind of showed that to us, and it's a great game. It's an
This
RPG.
is also a Squaresoft game, by the way.
Yeah, it's an RPG that has a lot of different stories, but they're decently short. So you're not like playing like 10 to 20 hours a story. It's more like maybe a few hours at most or whatever. But it's really cool. They're all like different eras in time and different types of things. There's one where this guy wants to be like the best wrestler ever, so you're doing that. And there's another one in like ancient China, and there's a futuristic sci-fi one that has like almost no combat except for the end. And then after you finish all the stories, it comes together and you choose which characters you want to like fight the final boss at the end of the whole game. It's really interesting. So you can emulate that, and there's a translation patch for it. It's a really interesting game. If you don't need a whole lot of time to play the stories, so it's pretty good for people who are a little short on time but kind of still want that RPG type of game. It's great.
Now I'm going to ask a super nerdy question. Is it a named wrestler?
No.
No. Okay. It's not like.
No, it's just Mr. Man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You say like if this is a game with like Giant Baba in it or something like that, it was like, all right, well I know what I'm doing after the podcast is over. Okay.
But this game definitely surprised me to play also because it's very RPG light. I mean, like it does have RPG elements, but they're not. But the gameplay is arranged such a way that it's such a way that's not really heavy RPG like some other games that Squaresoft.
You still need to do some grinding in some stories, though.
Yeah, because it's old games, so of course that's to be expected. But not many games have that aspect about have that aspect of like allowing you to pick a chapter to play, and then the characters come out together at the end. Dragon Warrior 4 did it, but there's not many other games that do that, so it's a nice touch.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not surprised you picked this game, George. Did you ever beat it?
No, but I want to.
We all want to. Not enough time in the day.
Yeah,
I have time. I have a lot of other games I need to play.
So, Willie, this is your last pick. I hope there's a game left on your list.
Oh yeah, Super Bomberman.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like dropping bombs in mazes.
Are we still
I
talking
actually
about
prefer
Bomberman?
I actually prefer. I actually prefer Super Bomberman 2 a little bit more, but the first one's also very, very good. But yeah, I mean, like Bomberman. Who has played Bomberman?
Willie, do you play this with your wife?
Yes. Oh yeah, it's a fun game to play with the wife when you're drunk.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I bought the controller adapter so you could plug in more controllers, and we used to play 4-player quite a bit.
Multi-tap. Yes, I've got one of those.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is
Bomberman's. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's the first game I was introduced to that had Bomberman in it, and then I went back and bought the NES ones, and they were terrible, I thought.
Oh, jeez.
Really?
Yeah.
But Bomberman on the NES is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
given
it's
the
still
game
fun.
another chance because that's the first one I played. I was like, wow, this isn't for me.
Really?
And
Oh.
I've never played another one.
I'm
That's
same
a
here.
shame.
I'm same boat with
Yeah.
Dan. I've
It's a
played
good
the first
party
and
game.
second ones, and I've never really messed with the modern ones.
It's a good party game, if
It is,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They tried like making single player stuff for some of those games, but it's like, it's alright. But like when you're
Yeah,
sitting
I
on the
think-
couch with friends and they're cursing at you because you just picked up this certain power up or whatever, or you just sniped them with a bomb or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's when it gets good.
I know Chris Bidwell from the late lamented Now You're Playing with podcast, he sets up, I think he's done it a couple times, the 12-player one on the Saturn, is it? That
Oh,
shows.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gotta
Saturn
be
one
crazy.
has a lot of players. I think it's up to 8 people on the Saturn.
No, it's 12. There's a 12.
Is it
player
12?
one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
if it's a
I'm pretty
Saturn
sure
or
it-
something else, but he says
I
it's
a
think
lot
that's
of
Saturn
people.
Bomberman.
Yeah.
I have it. Let me check.
Yeah, the Neo
Oh,
Geo.
do you? Wow.
Yeah, the Neo Geo Bomberman game is very, very good too.
Oh, I didn't realize it was on the Neo Geo.
Yeah,
It's on just about everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
There was
It's in my
there
ears.
was an
It's in my
N-Gage
ears.
version, wasn't there?
Yes,
oh,
I
was
think
there?
was.
I need to go
Yeah.
get that now.
If there is an N-Gage version, it is safely on everything else.
There is
I need to
technically
go-
a
I need to go
Bomberman
get that
game on
N-Gage
Virtual
version now.
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Panic
That's true,
Bomber is
yeah,
on Virtual
Panic
Boy.
Bomber.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, great pick. Yeah, Bomberman's awesome. I had this game like my list too. So. But,
Yep, me too.
So for my last pick, I have to pick a game from this genre because I love this genre also. I got to go with a sports game because I love sports. And just it's just a Super NES did not have a lot of great sports games on it, but it had a few good ones. I was thinking about taking Super Punch Out, but that's not very a sports game per se. So I decided to dig a little bit deeper. Deeper here, and I actually think this game is very, very good, better than the NES. Better than the ones on the NES, and doesn't really get too much credit, unfortunately. Super Tecmo Bowl 3, or Tecmo Super Bowl 3, actually, but it still has the pick up and play Mantic arcade fun style that the NES ones do, while adding a little bit more complexity and challenge to the game. The graphics were given a very nice facelift. There's still like full teams, full rosters. It's still very charming. It's still like a very cute, very. Just a great arcade-style football game. I was a huge Tecmo Bowl fan as a kid. I really didn't get into Madden until the the PlayStation days. But Tecmo Super Bowl 3 is, I think, probably the ultimate point of the series. It's still, like I said, it still has the pick up and play. Like, you don't need to be a football fan to enjoy it. The plays are still right there on the screen for you to decide. Just push a button in the pad, like this direction, call the plays and whatnot. And as a bonus, my beloved Patriots were actually good in this game. So it was actually fun to actually play them for a change, and I got my ass kicked. So
Is this the one with the bat, or is this the one with the hoop?
neither.
I don't know anything about sports.
Yeah. No, like an inflated pigskin. But Super Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl 3 just doesn't get the credit it deserves, I think. The NES ones are classics, and they should be classics, but this one I think is really the best game of the series.
It is an excellent game, and maybe a little bit of a hot take here, but the best Madden football game is nowhere near as good as Tecmo.
Oh.
Whoa. Okay. Shots fired.
That's right.
Well, different style games, Dan. It's not really fair to compare them because Tecmo Bowl has always been arcadey, whereas Madden's always been simulation.
You hear that, Madden?
I was
You
going
hear
to say Tecmo Bowl has always been good, and Madden has.
I mean, from what I know, you're not wrong.
I mean, this is coming from somebody who used to buy Madden every, it wasn't
That's still
great.
me.
Yeah,
That's still.
I have never had as much fun playing Madden as I did playing Tecmo Bowl or Tecmo Super Bowl 3. That game is.
Now, multiplayer, I'll definitely agree with you there. I mean, I've had so many fun games, Tecmo Bowl multiplayer. It's just it's such an awesome game to play against somebody.
It really is. It's so good.
Yeah. Like I said before, I've been trying to get Ferg to pick up one of these Tecmo Bowl games. This is a great one to start because it's so simple to play. It's like you push one button in the pad. There you go. There's a play call. And and you don't need to do anything too if you want to. You have coach mode. You just call the plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome game.
Yeah. Awesome game. So I'm glad somebody agrees with me here on this one. Kris, what do you have for us last?
Well, I guess I'll take another opportunity to travel off the beaten path a tad. I was going to mention one of the Mega Man games, but it's not like Mega Man needs any. Mega Man doesn't need me praising it. Exactly.
What kind of guy is this?
He rocks.
Oh, I get it.
Now I'm going to give my last pick to Battle Clash,
Wow.
which is
What
the
is
best. It's the best Super Scope game there is. I love Battle Clash. So it's
No wonder why I
basically
don't know it.
Battle Clash is basically Punch Out with giant robots that isn't Teleroboxer because you're not
What?
punching each other. It's like shooting each other.
That sounds dangerous.
It's super cool. So it's done kind of from a first-person perspective, and you look through the scope, and it's super intense. And it's all about recognizing the enemy patterns. They're all like shooting these different bolts at you and different rockets and whatnot. And you have to kind of figure out, based on what they're doing, where you should shoot them to stop them and counterattack and whatnot. And it's got a ridiculous anime story, but it looks super cool. It sounds super cool, and it's just. Like I said before, I like shooters, like light gun shooters and whatnot, and this is one of the things that I think just kind of proved how unique the Super Scope was, because that looking through that scope and really giving you that scope tunnel vision just add to the intensity of this game, and it was super intense because it's rolling by super fast, like you're just moving back and forth really, really quickly, and you're not doing any of the movement, but the way the quote-unquote story of the game works is there's two people inside of your mech. One person's the gunner, and that's you. You're in charge of just shooting, and the other person's piloting. So the other mech is rolling, like shooting around and flying around super fast, and so the way the camera is kind of positioned in the game is that it's reacting to the other person moving, so it's like you're just controlling the shooting while you're chasing this other character down. It's a really intense game, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's one of those things that doesn't get talked about much because the Super Scope's kind of a joke, but there were a few really good games for it, and Battle Clash, and to a lesser extent its sequel, Metal Combat Falcon's Revenge, which is a terrible name for a game. Battle Clash was just super fun. It's a really, really cool game. They should make a new one, and they never will.
No,
Oh,
no,
well.
they will not.
Oh well.
When we moved to Delaware in '98, it was the first time we had a Walmart nearby, and my wife actually worked there, so I spent a lot of time there. And in the electronics section, they had this game. It was packaged in a weird thing with a pink gun and a light blue gun, and I think it was like $10. They had tons of these things.
Those are the Lethal Enforcer's guns. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I went through, I think I bought it like 5 times, and I gave up because I could not get the guns to work.
That's because, those aren't compatible with this
guns.
game.
Yeah.
Those were made
Now
just
I
for
know.
Lethal Enforcers. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah, no, those were kind of based on like older style, where like those were really similar to the Zapper, whereas the Super Scope had an actual receiver that you had to plug in. So yeah, there was just no way that was gonna work.
Yeah, no.
Two different types of technology there.
That explains
That's
it.
awesome.
That's great. That's great.
Fantastic. Stupid Walmart ripping kids off.
I thought
And
you
it
were
was-
going to go
it
somewhere
was-
else with that.
It was probably like one dude that like every time he returned it, Ferg was like, "No, I'm gonna put it back out there, see if somebody's dumb enough to buy it again." Oh, look, it's sold. Some jackhole.
Oh man, that's great. All right, last but definitely not least, like this draft episode, Ferg.
Okay, I totally forgot about Super Punch-Out, but I did not play that at the time when the console was new, so I'm going to go with the game I played
Pick
quite
a
a
good
bit.
game this time.
Okay.
Ooh.
This should be good.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I picked Sanrio World Smash Ball.
Okay.
I found this when I first got into emulators, and I was able to get a SNES emulator working on my computer with a chunk of wood in it. I found
Those are my
this-
favorite computers.
Yeah, I found this
Wood-
game
wood
because I
computer,
had just learned about what Sanrio was, and I fell in love with Karopi, and he's actually in this game. And basically, what this is, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's kind of like a Pong game, but basically it's a one-on-one game. And it's kind of like soccer where you're kicking the ball and you have to make a goal. And as you play, they add like a breakout type of thing into the goal where you have to get the bricks out of the way to get into the goal. And then there's also bricks that you can't break that you have to get past. I play this for hours.
Are you sure this isn't a fever dream?
Nope.
I am
a YouTube
looking at
video of it right now.
It's
This is
real.
nuts.
Weird.
It's real and it's fabulous.
This is bananas. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It
That's
looks
why I said, is this a fever dream? Because honestly, it just sounds weird.
It looks like a combination of like Pong and air hockey.
Yeah,
What?
kind of like that. Yeah.
Just a little bit of dodgeball thrown in there for good measure.
Yeah.
But it's not a ball, is it? It looks like a disc. Like it's a crazy.
It's kind of like a disc. Yeah.
So it's like a weird version of Windjammers?
That's I was just looking
Yeah?
it up before, and somebody mentioned Windjammers. Yeah, I've never played Windjammers though.
This
There's also
Oh, everybody loves Windjammers.
There's also
Wow.
a Neo Geo game I just discovered last night that's kind of like this, but I can't remember what the name of it is.
Windjammers?
No.
Because it's a Neo Geo game.
Oh, no,
That's
no,
similar
no.
to this.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. Definitely not that.
All right, we'll try Windjammers when you get the chance.
Okay.
Yes, Windjammers is amazing.
Yeah, it's
This
pretty
is
good.
banana sandwich. I have no idea.
Oh, Battle
All right, well,
Battle Flip
I've
Shot
learned
is
something
the Neo
today.
Geo game. But yeah, I just picked it because I liked Hello Kitty World on the NES, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I picked this because it was Sanrio, and I fell in love with it and played it for hours and hours.
Did any of you watch the that Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Just watched
Did
that
you
episode.
watch the Hello Kitty episode?
Yes, I did.
That old lady who's in charge of Hello Kitty is the scariest woman I've ever seen in my life. Someone who is in charge of something purely joyful has no joy in her life
It doesn't
whatsoever.
look like it, does it? Yeah.
That's weird.
It's the strangest thing.
Yeah.
I had no I felt feelings. I didn't know what to do. Like after I got done like I took a shower after I watched it. I was just like, this is weird. I'm gonna go sit and think for a bit. Very strange.
It was very strange. Yeah.
Well, I think we've given Kris and Dan some games to look at to possible talk about like in their podcast.
Yeah.
We'll add it to the summer series.
I was gonna say some of these might show up on our summer series list.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely some games. Again, this podcast I've never heard of, so I'll have to check this one out too. So, thank you, Ferg.
Sure.
Like I thought you were going to go with like another game, but I'll mention that game later on.
Qbert.
Qbert 3, yeah. Yeah, my favorite Qbert game, bar none. But okay, so let's finish up with some honorable mentions, like some other games that we really enjoy that just you'll show us some time for later in this episode. Dan, like what are some of yours?
I was gonna mention Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Just because I mean that and Mortal Kombat 2 were some of the most fun you could have as far as fighting games were concerned. On the Super Nintendo, just fantastic games. I also really loved Captain Commando. That's another Capcom beat 'em up that I don't think gets enough love. You know, it was like, who is this guy? When people saw him in Marvel vs. Capcom, it's like, oh, it's Captain Commando. It's this really cool, weird game. There's like a baby in a mech. It's very odd.
What?
Yeah, one of the playable characters is a baby in a mech suit.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's crazy.
Captain Commando rules. Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventure is a fantastic Indiana Jones game. It's it's up there for me with the arcade one, as far as just really cool, interesting Indiana Jones game. And then the last two I wanted to mention were NBA Jam. Still never been a more fun basketball game than that.
True.
Putting in all the different codes, getting all the weird characters, I'm gonna go slam dunk as Bill Clinton and Al Gore. Just really cool.
Yeah.
And then Kris and I have talked about on our show a bunch the Stone Age Gamer, available on geekade.com, where my cousin was the one with the Sega Genesis and I had the Super Nintendo, and I was always super jealous of Shinobi and the Shinobi game, and I would go to his house and play him. So when I found out about a game called Hagane, it was kind of like the Super Nintendo's answer to Shinobi, just that sort of precision action ninja style game. You know, you had throwing stars and all the trappings of what you could want in that sort of game. Brutally difficult, but just an awesome game that nobody has played. That Chris owns a copy of. That's an off-air story. But it's super expensive now, like on the back market. It's a very expensive game, but it is definitely worth.
Yeah, like complete copies go for like close to $2,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like it is insanely expensive. It's not worth $2,000. It's not that good, but it is fun. So.
No game is worth $2,000.
That's very true.
I mean,
if it was a
on
game that came
development
with-
side, it's worth more than that. But
Yeah.
If the game came with like, 15, like let's say $1,900 in cash inside the box.
I mean, yeah, it'd be worth it.
Okay, thanks.
Also, what world are you living in that people are stuffing cash into game boxes when you buy them?
A happy, happy world.
Chris and I ran very shady operations at Game Crazy. The reason the company doesn't exist anymore.
Wait, you worked at Game Crazy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That is awesome.
The cash was usually bison dollars anyway, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Super valuable if you know the right
Might
people.
be why they're not around anymore.
George, how about yours?
Oh boy. Rest of the things I had on my list: Star Ocean, Secret of Mana, Breath of Fire 2, Yoshi's Cookie. That's basically the rest of my list.
Yeah, Yoshi's Cookie's a fun, fun puzzle game.
Yeah.
The music in Secret of Mana is probably my favorite SNES music.
Goodness,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is pretty
I like
good.
the music more than I like the game, and I like the game, but I like the music. It's one of those soundtracks. It's just like
It's gorgeous.
If I played the
it's
game
wonderful.
before or the game after, well, if I played the game after, that'd probably be on my list, but I have not played that yet, so.
Yeah. Willie, how about you?
Well, off the top of my head, I can think of Raiden Triad, because I love shooter games.
Excellent game.
Firepower 2000. I like that one quite a bit.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Sounds like you're just making names up.
No, it's an awesome game, man. It's really cool. And Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
oh, I'm so glad
yeah.
you said that. That was on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, in some ways, Power Wings is very tech demo-y, but it's also like a fun game in its own right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really wonderful. I have such a deep-seated love of that game.
I'm
'Cause,
surprised they
it's
haven't made like a new one. Like the newest one was the 3DS one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the last one they made.
That's weird.
Great, funny connection there. Soundtrack by Soya Oka, who also did the soundtrack to Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at that.
Okay, well, some of my honorable mentions, but I'm a big fan of shooters, so even though the game had some slowdown, Gradius 3 I
Yes.
had a lot of fun with.
It's on my list
It's
too.
a solid game, yeah.
Yeah.
And then kind of a more like obscure game, Super Conflict, which is the sequel to the NES game Conflict. It's a strategy tactical battle game where you get to control NATO units against Soviet units and just try to take over the map and
Of
shoot
course,
shit.
Greg.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely more like obscure, but yeah. Yep. But yeah, like a great game. I mentioned earlier that I'm a Godzilla fan. Super Godzilla on the system is a blast to play.
Oh, that is such a good game.
Yeah, there's a learning curve of that game, but it's definitely fun, especially if you're a fan of the movies. Well, Chris kind of alluded to the Mega Man X series. You got to mention that. And finally, let's see. I'm finally going to mention, I think here, because I actually had a pretty big list here because I was trying to prepare for every possible contingency. There's a kind of obscure Konami game called Cybernator. That's kind of a side-scrolling platforming action game. That's a lot of fun. Konami really has some great games in the system, and this is definitely one of them. I think it definitely needs to get some love.
I think we actually might have brought that up for a second last episode.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Chris?
Well, you mentioned the Mega Man X games. I really wanted to mention Mega Man 7. It's one of my favorite Mega Man games. It just looks so good. I love the way this looks. I love the way it introduces environmental puzzles like burning down the trees and Slash Man stage and freezing little robot guy to make it snow so you can see platforms and Cloud Man stage. It's awesome. I love Yoshi's Island. It's one of my all-time favorites. I know the baby crying is a super obnoxious sound effect, but
Roll this guy out.
everything else about that game, the art direction is incredible. The animation,
I'll give it that game.
the special effects with the FX chip, like the weird gooey blob, the Raphael the Raven, where you're like the whole stage is spinning around and you're like trying to pound the little. This game's ridiculous.
Touch Fuzzy, get dizzy.
Touch Fuzzy, get dizzy. It's so good. Super Punch-Out's been brought up once or twice. I'm a huge Punch-Out fan. I love that this kind of brought back some of the arcade elements. So it's like kind of a cross between the arcade games and the NES games. Surprised nobody said Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
I was just going to say it.
Yeah,
It's not my type of game,
hard.
so...
It is, yeah.
You mentioned a puzzle game in Yoshi's Cookie. Wario's Woods doesn't get enough credit.
Okay,
Whenever it's ported to anything, it's always the NES version because it's the last official NES game or whatever.
I think people actually legitimately love the NES version of Wario's Woods over the SNES version. So
why?
I don't know. I'm not.
I cannot imagine. I feel like most people don't even know there is a Super NES version because honestly, the
That's
Super NES version.
That's probably the case too.
It takes advantage of the 4 face buttons because you got to do some weird things to get things to work in the NES version. It looks better. It sounds better. Super NES version of Wario's Woods is top notch. It's a weird puzzle game because it's so. You're controlling a character inside of a falling block puzzle, but it's so good. Stunt Race FX is it's one of those weird FX chip games that like looks like a slideshow, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's a really fun game. And
if you overclock your SNES, you could get some frames out of it.
You really can. And I'll always love the Super NES version of Lemmings. You know, because
we just recently covered that.
Yep, just covered it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am shocked you did not mention Unirace.
It's on my, like, I don't want to go through everything on my list. The Super Adventure Island 2, Twisted Tales of Spike McFang, and then Uniracers.
Wow,
they were in alphabetical order.
Okay, Ferg?
I had a couple more. Cuber 3, like you said. Micro Machines was a lot of fun. I played that.
Oh,
one
yeah,
a
that
bit.
is a good game.
Okay.
Williams Arcade Classics, or Arcade Greatest Hits, that actually introduced me to Sinistar, for which I am eternally grateful. It's a little bit different than the arcade version, but it's still a lot of fun to play. What else? Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure, the 2600 version hidden in there was garbage, but I enjoyed the rest of the game.
That's an excellent game.
Yeah.
The ending where
nobody
you
plays.
save Pitfall Harry, and it's the freaking Atari sprite.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
I played a lot of Shanghai 2, which has a puzzle and dragons in it. And then the last game, which I like, which has a lot of crap, is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. That was my first RPG. That was what it was designed for, and I had fun playing it, but it was a victim of me not finishing games back then.
It's nowhere near as bad a game as everybody makes it out.
No, I didn't think so. I enjoyed
Definitely
it.
agree with that. Yeah. The game's fine for what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, like Ferg said, like, you know, like, it was designed to be like a first RPG.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, and so nothing else, and using the game's great.
It is. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
The soundtrack in the game is so good. Star Fox. Speaking of like the FX chip games.
Oh yeah. I'm with you.
What's that?
Yeah.
I love Star Fox. Love the first one's my favorite one in the series.
Yeah.
Hands down. Not even close. Love the original
It's really
Star
hard
Fox.
to play the game now if you didn't play it back then. But back then when the game came out, it was just like such a fun shooter game. Like so good. Yeah.
It had some cool music.
Music's very good too. Yep. Yeah.
I should say here that I was in charge of the Star Fox Super Weekend when I worked at KB. And I still have my apron. Which apparently is worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it is. You probably should list it on eBay, see what you get for it.
Yeah.
I got $10.
15. I got 15.
That's so weird, Ferg, that your apron just disappeared right after you brought it up, and apparently it cost money. So I mean, I totally don't have it or anything right now.
Yeah, I have in storage somewhere some memorabilia and some stuff I got when I did the Nintendo World Power Championships in 1990, and I wish I could find that stuff.
Oh, nice.
Because it's probably worth some okay money these days.
Yeah,
but
possibly.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of swag I grabbed from that event. So, but awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody taking time to be on the podcast with us. This was a lot of fun. So,
yeah.
This would be this would be like part 2 of the like I mentioned before, part 2 of the special 100 episode special that we're doing. So we'll be releasing in a few weeks. And so I really want to thank everybody for coming at us with a list of some games, because like I said, the library is so huge that we probably could be here for much longer talking about some great games on the system. Yeah. So, George, you want to mention real quick what we're covering in the next regular episode?
Oh, we are covering Pieces.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, obscure puzzle game. So.
Oh, I look forward to that. I never heard of that one.
Me neither. So.
Greg didn't know about it, so he thought it was a Japanese game.
Well, it sounds Japanese.
I mean, it's a Japanese game, but it came out over here.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, definitely. So. Anyway, we always appreciate your support for listening to the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, etc., you can always find us on our Facebook page or on iTunes, or you can also give me an email if you want to at the SNES Podcast at yahoo.com. We are a proud member of both the Throwback Network and Retro Junkies networks, where you can find a whole bunch of other great retro-themed podcasts, both gaming and non-gaming related. George and I also do together the PlayStation Power podcast, where we cover PS1, PS2, and PSP games.
Yes.
And just a warning, that one's not family friendly. Yeah, so some good games coming on that podcast pretty soon. And George, what other retro themed podcasts do you do?
I do Master System Masterpieces, where we cover Master System games. That's about it.
Somebody has to.
We loosely cover the games. I think most of our episodes are us talking about raccoons and tornadoes and stuff or whatever. I don't know.
So. All right, so that's a wrap for this episode. I want to thank our special guest host again very much for being on the podcast with us, and it was a blast.
Yes,
thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hopefully we can have you guys back again later on for a regular episode, without all the extra baggage.
That'd be cool.
So thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you all again next time. Take care, everybody.
Das
Bye.
Vidania.
Oh,
see you.
So long.
Nintendo controls 80% of the video market. But no matter how you play the game, or which game you play, things definitely have come a long way since Pac-Man. Now you're playing with power. Deep power.